Hello, Mr. and Mrs. America and all the ships at sea. We are back once again with the scene section of the Tulsa World. My name is Jim Watts. I'm here with my colleague, Jimmie Tramel. And we are to tell you about all that's coming up in upcoming issues of the Tulsa World, in particular the scene section, available at fine news agents and convenience stores everywhere, and online at tulsaworld.com. This is October, the month of Ghost and Goblins, and I believe, Jimmie, you've talked to the queen of them all.
The Queen of Halloween, as she is called. Here's a hint, and here's a visual hint. You can see who that is right there. It's Elvira. She actually, Cassandra Peterson is her name. She became Elvira 40 years ago, 1981, as a local host for the weekly creature feature, and then her popularity exploded to what it is now. She's, basically a pop culture icon, and she has written a tell-all book called "Yours Cruelly" or "Cruelly Yours." I forget which one. Elvira, and man, I read an advanced copy of the book, and I talked to her about the book. People say tell-all book. This is a tell-all book. The encounters with people she had, even before becoming Elvira, were amazing. Frank Sinatra, Tom Jones, Wilt Chamberlain, Andy Williams, and on and on. Sammy Davis Jr., on and on and on and on. And Elvis changed her life, not once, but twice.
Okay.
Elvis got her out of a career that we'll just hint at here in Las Vegas when he said, "You're a young girl, should not be in Las Vegas." But highly recommend the book. Loved it. Lots of good stuff in there about Elvira, Mistress of the Dark.
Okay. Just curious, which came first, the Mistress of the Dark or the Oak Ridge Boys hit?
It's funny, she was going to be Vampira instead of Elvira, but there was a previous Vampira who filed a lawsuit right before they could usher out the younger, newer Vampira, and said, "You cannot use that name." So they threw a bunch of names into a hat. Elvira was one of them, and that just happened to be the one they pulled out. "Oh, by the way, you're Elvira. You're on. The show's starting. Let's go." And the song Elvira by the Oak Ridge Boys had come out prior to Elvira, the character.
Okay. So she really put the Papa Mau Mau into a late night television, I guess.
100%.
Well, I have seen her without her Elvira garb, the pictures of her, and regardless of what image she presents, she is a striking woman, and she strikes me as someone that would have no qualms about telling anything you ask.
Well, I don't want to give away the whole book or the whole story, but
of course not.
She was born in Manhattan, Kansas, and
okay.
A horrible childhood accident. Was covered with burns over a third of her body at one point as a child, and I identified as a misfit and loved monsters. Other girls were playing with Barbie and Ken. She was playing with Aurora Model Kit, so Frankenstein and the Wolfman. So this is not just a character she plays. She loves the horror genre. But we'll stop there and not give away the whole story or the whole book. Buy the book, buy the story, buy the newspaper, buy the book, read about it.
Well, earlier this week, we also published a roundup of some of the major family-friendly Halloween events that are going on around the area, pumpkin patches and the like. And I believe you're also going to have some of the haunted houses and other, how should we say, a little more intense Halloween attractions.
We will list the scary haunted attractions in our Friday section, along with Elvira, because they kind of go together. And the only other thing I have for Friday is an interview with REO Speedwagon, the bassist, Bruce Hall. And I have a kind of a throwaway question that if I have time, I ask some people, and I say, "Hey, do you have a Tulsa story?" And turns out this guy has one. So see what that story is on Friday.
Okay. All right. Well, this weekend is also a busy one in the arts. If you're into music, the Tulsa Symphony will be performing on October 9. Garrick Olson will be playing Beethoven's Emperor Concerto with the orchestra. And if you're into theater, you've got two choices. One is Theater Tulsa's production of Dreamgirls, which is a musical based on the girl groups of the 60s, primarily the Supremes, although the creators, tried to distance themselves, but you really have to know absolutely nothing about the Supremes to not know that Dreamgirls is inspired by that group. And also a world premiere of a new play. Well, it's a new adaptation of Heinrich Ibsen's An Enemy of the People. It's written by a Tulsa writer named David Blakely. And it's set in modern day Cushing and involves a town that the infightings that arise when somebody once tries to point out that things that are being done to find the oil that keeps this town rich and famous may end up destroying not just the town, but the national economy. And oddly enough, it's a comedy. So look forward to that. All that's taking place this weekend at the Tulsa PAC. What have you got coming up for this Sunday?
Sunday section, we have some Oklahoma goodness. Everyone's familiar with these fellows right here, right? Ron and Howard. We got an advanced copy of The Boys, which is their shared memoir. And really, it's a love letter almost to their parents, Rance and Jean Howard, who are from Oklahoma and left Oklahoma to go pursue careers as actors. And they didn't, they had some degree of success as actors, but it was their children, Ron and Clint, who had great careers, starting off as child actors, Ron with Andy Griffith's Show, of course, and later as Richie Cunningham on Happy Days, and continuing through his days as a director, and Clint with Gentle Ben. And Clint, that's my phone trying to go off. It's my comic book dealer. I'll have to call him back. Clint has a sprawling list of credits you don't realize until you get in and look at them. One of my favorites being when he was Baylock on the Corbomite Maneuver episode of the original Star Trek series. If you're wondering, Tranya was grape juice, if you're wondering about that experience. But they were kind enough to talk to us about the book. It's not being released until next week, October 12th, but we've got kind of a preview and an interview with the two Howard boys. And it was certainly a thrill to talk to those guys, and it was very Oklahoma-centric as far as the conversation.
And do I remember correctly that Ron Howard tries to find at least a cameo role for Clint and his family, or any of his family members, in the films he directs? Am I remembering that correctly?
Many times he would have Clint or his parents. His mother, I believe, talked her way into his movie Cocoon, which he directed, and he wasn't sure, so she had to go and like win the part, basically, and then knocked it out of the park. But really, people think I'm a speed reader because I tell them I can get through a book in a couple hours, half a day, no problem. And that's true because I cheat. I find the boring part of the book, I skip past it, and I go to what interests me. I could not find a boring part of this book. I had to sit down for the long haul because it was all interesting to me.
Well, great. Yeah, that's like one of Elmore Leonard's tips on writing. Leave out the boring stuff. So
I've been doing it wrong.
I know.
Yeah.
Story of my life. But anyway,
okay.
Well,
you may have something else, but you also have a surprise to announce that you may see a new byline in the newspaper.
That's right. We have recently, the Tulsa World hired a new writer for the scene section. Grace Wood will be joining, she officially joined the staff October 4, but it will take a while for her to get up to speed with the way we do things around here. I'm still not quite sure how to do a lot of things, but anyway, but we will see her. You'll see her byline early enough, because if I think rightly, she's going to be reviewing John Legend's concert at the BOK Center this weekend.
If that's her first byline, that's a pretty neat gig to have, and to say years later, the first thing I ever wrote was a John Legend review. So that's cool for her. Assuming she's done things for us before a little bit.
That's true. She's done some freelance stuff, but it's been mainly for the World of Home section, and you'll see her byline more and more there. But I have a feeling that as everybody with the scene section knows, your responsibilities and areas of interest will broaden considerably over the course of time. Coming up for this Sunday is the latest Broadway show presented by Celebrity Attractions. We just a month ago had the commemoration, of the 20th anniversary of the September 11 attacks. The show that's coming on October 12th, is Come From Away. And it is the story of a small town in Canada, Gander, Nova Scotia, that was where a number of international flights were sent on 9/11 when the airspace over the United States was shut down. It was full.
Interesting.
Airlines were going everywhere, and the ones that were supposed to come into the U.S. couldn't. And so Gander is a town, I believe correctly, about 3,000 people. And so it literally tripled in size in one day because a number of planes landed. The show is about how the residents, understandably were a little reluctant to accept all these people, but how whatever barriers of culture and language and whatever ultimately broke down as this community recreated itself. It's a very moving, very uplifting show. It has a small ensemble cast where they're constantly changing character in the course of it. It's really something worth seeing because it kind of restores your faith in the goodness of people. It's that kind of a show. So
I could use some of that.
We could all use a little bit of that. That will run October 12 through 17 at the Tulsa PAC. And seats are still available. This was actually supposed to be presented in 2020, but because of the cancellations, because of COVID, it's only been now that they've been able to bring it. But they were Celebrity Attractions desperately wanted to get this show in town to share it with their audiences. So that's about what we've got coming up. Food. There's always food. If you are a fan of burritos, some of the largest ones you will encounter are at a place called King Burrito. There's one shop on 71st between Memorial and Mingo. They are opening a second one dangerously close to where I live at 21st and Sheridan. And we'll have an assessment of what they have to serve up in a coming issue. So, well, I believe that's about all that we have for this thrill-packed episode. We thank you for your time, and we will gladly see you later.
Behave.
For more information, you can visit tulsaworld.com.